Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Twitch Tips, let's just call it that. This one is based on cameras, so I have 3 cameras set up. Let's just go through them. So there's a new camera that I brought recently, the M200, my old Canon 1300D, and Logitech C920. So they're the ones I'm using at the moment. There's one that you can probably see behind me there. That's a pretty bad one that I mainly use for BRB cams, and I'll switch to that scene now. So yeah, it's this cam. It's a very cheap webcam, so yeah, quality's not that best. You have to manually focus it, which is really awkward when you are this far away from being able to see what's on it. I'm out of focus, I know I am. I usually just leave it out of focus because it gives more of a blurry image, which is kind of the thing I'm after. So I just leave this as it is. It also changes its focus over time as well, so maybe if I come back to this cam later, it may be in focus, we never know. But yeah, let's get back over. So yeah, the main difference between these cameras are, which is why I'm doing these, I've got one that's plugged into a capture card doing 1080/60, as you see it's smoother, and I've got another which is just using the EOS webcam software. So it's a DSLR, but it doesn't have clean HDMI out. Clean HDMI out means there's none of the on-screen display options that come up. It has none of that, but it does plug in via USB, and it can be used as a webcam. It does look a lot better than most actual webcams. Probably not in this lighting because I've just got the room lights on. I'm doing that on purpose. They are bright white lights. I've changed them to LEDs, but just having the room lights on is like the worst case scenario for your camera. There's no light on your face, it's just behind you. Yeah, I've started off bad. I'm gonna go through the stages of what you can do to improve it. Yeah, let's go to the last webcam. The last webcam is the standard webcam. It's the Logitech C920. It's the one everyone's been using, everyone knows of for the last 10 years. Just quickly, the resolutions that these cameras are running in. Logitech C920 is running it in its 1080p 30. The 1300D is running in 720p 30 because that's the max it can via the software at the moment. And the M200 is 1080/60. It should be a lot smoother between it and the rest. The EOS software does seem to be a little bit more choppy, but for a webcam, you don't need the 60 FPS, so it doesn't matter. You're not going to be moving around as much. You're not filming a sports event with it. And also the fact that it's 720p, it doesn't look that much different to the 1080p of the webcam because it's just so much better at handling its pixels. Annoyingly, it doesn't have autofocus, so I have to focus it myself, which is one godsend that when I got my M200, I was really glad that I could autofocus it. So I just autofocus work. Yeah, autofocus, it works, which is something I can't do with the other Canon camera because it just doesn't work. And yeah, everyone says to put this into, or a GoPro that you can get on eBay, into a capture card, which is a good option if you like that fisheye look, the more broader angle, it's curved round at the edges. If you like that look, it's good. If you don't, and you want something less of a wider angle field of view, then you can still crop it in, but then you're just removing quality from it because you'll be removing pixels from the sides, and it's a good cheap option. It's probably, you can get it for about the same price as newer webcams, which is good because the newer webcams aren't actually that good. Recently there's been a couple of new webcams that are out that I haven't had a look at yet. Don't take my word on those, but in the last 10 years, there's not been much difference than the C920. Maybe in the last year, with everyone being in lockdown and webcams being needed more than before, there's been more innovations made with it. Like we've been using USB 2.0 for years. If you had even back when the C920 came out, if you had a gaming PC back then 10 years ago, you probably had USB 3. USB 3 doesn't solve everything to do with the quality issues, but it sure does help with the problems that people have with low resolution, and it increases the bit rate, but it doesn't solve all of the problems. It surely does help though. So yeah, this has been a quick run through of the cameras as they are. Just with room lights, you just put your lights on. I know that a lot of people don't have bright white LED lights as their room lights, so this is a little bit off compared to what you may get. You may have more of a warm light or something like that, but this is a good start. Some cameras don't really cope well with it, like I am bright and white on the M200, but going over to the 1300D, it's a bit more orange on my face. I'm a lot more red. I did just have a shower before this, so maybe there is more red on my face, and this camera's bringing that out more. As you can see on this one, again, it's a little bit darker face, a bit more of a red face, and there's a little bit of pink in my face here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn on a key light just to add light to this side of my face, because right now I do have a window that's frosted glass, so it is like a big softbox, but I have tried to bring the blinds down so we have more of a just room light effect. So I'm gonna turn on that light now and see how it looks. So this is the M200 before, and it's in the M200 after. Where it's sort of a side, and it's not quite a massive softbox, so the shadows are harsh on the other side of my face. I like this look. I like the contrast in shadows. Let's look over to the other cameras now. It's the 1300D before, and this is the 1300D after. Again, adds more color to the face, more contrast to the face. You could also do a bit of a light behind, so you get another reflection off the other side. But I don't usually do that. I usually after this I will do a floodlight in the back, turn off the room lights, and keep this in the front. I'll show you what I do usually afterwards. Let's go over to the C920. So this is before. Remember the color of the face, the difference between the background and me. This should, turning it on now, mean that I'm more visible. Yeah, it really does add a lot more to help weaker cameras. I'm not doing this video to say just buy a good camera and a capture card. I'm doing this to show you what you can do with all the different types that I have. So ways to get more out of what you have. So this is one way you can do it. You just need to get a cheap, I think this is a £20 light, and then bam, you're done. You don't even have to buy an actual video or photography light. You can just buy a normal light stand with a white light bulb in it. I'm using white. You can get a different color if you want that other look. It's up to you and your personal preference, but you can just buy a cheap light stand and a cheap light bulb and then get the same effect as this. So it's up to you what you use. Gear isn't everything, but what you have is the most important part. If you have a C920, don't go out and buy a better camera. Start off with this. If you have a 1300D or a DSLR that has webcam software, use it. You don't have to go out and buy a £150 capture card or whatever price they are at this time, but you don't have to go out and buy a capture card. You can just use the inbuilt webcam software. You don't have to go and buy a mirrorless camera that has clean HDMI out. If you have it, use it. If you don't have to go out and buy it. Gear isn't everything, but the gear you have is the most important. Not go out and buy new gear. Keep what you have. As you can see, immediately with one £20 light, you can make your cameras look much better off the bat. I'll show you what it looks like right now. It's not the usual setup. If I go to the overcam, the BRB screen, you see I've got a light there, then the camera's here, so it's off by like 45 degrees to my face. Usually these will be, my camera will be back in the corner there, and it'll be up on the windowsill. So again, the same kind of angle off, but yeah, it's just, I usually keep it off by like about 40 degrees. Can have it closer, but having it straight over the cam, I don't like the look of it. It usually just makes everything just white. Having some contrast, I prefer. There's also the beard test of, can you see the individual hairs? Yeah, you can on the Canon M200. Again, where it's 720p, the 1300D does lack a few. There's a reason why I left this. I trimmed the edges. I didn't trim the length of it yesterday, so I did leave it for a reason. Again, it's blurred out slightly within the C920 on the beard a bit. It's just you get so much more definition. Like the C920 and the M200 are running at the same resolution, but where the sensor size is smaller, you don't get the same blurred background effect as you do on the M200. I could probably change the lens and get more of a background blur on the M200. This is just using the kit lens right now. The 1300D as well is just using the kit lens. I do have other lenses, but off the bat, I can't rely on you guys going off and buying a new lens. I'm just, what comes out of the box is what I have here. Right, I think now it's time to turn off the room lights and turn on the floodlight. I have a remote control for it here, not for the room lights, so I have to turn those off first. So I will go quick and turn off the room lights. So yeah, quickly before I turn the floodlight on, you can now see what the actual light is doing. It's just lighting up my face and not touching the background. There's a little bit of the on this wall here, but that's just because that's the way the light's facing. Let's turn on the floodlight. See how it looks. I usually use blue. It is a pure blue, so any difference in colors, like there's a couple of bits of purple around over this side, that's the camera doing that. There you go. It looks a lot better already, just having a light in the background that's not the same color as what's on your face. You can also change the color of it. Green always looks a little bit weird. Yeah, I don't usually go green. I sometimes go red, depending on the mood I'm in. I don't mind going a little bit red. I also have an LED strip here that goes underneath the shelf, which sometimes wow, it's really going blue. It does not like that red. I need to play around the white balance for the red, but I'm going to put it back to blue because that's what I usually have it on. There we go. And come back face. There we go. Okay, so let's go through the cameras. Again, the M200 is handling it pretty well. The Canon, it's a little bit purple, it's a little bit bright. Yeah, it's not too bad. Again, I like that look. I like this look. From what I believe in the past, I've left the C920 on auto. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go and quickly change some settings on the C920. I turn the brightness down a little bit, add a little bit of contrast, and it's usable. I don't mind it. When it's down in a little corner on your screen, you won't be able to tell much of the difference. So this is what I usually set mine to. That's down there again, and it's about £20. It's a outdoor floodlight I just found on Amazon. Like, it does all the colors. I don't care. Let's change to, wow, that's gone more purple now. Well, that's the scene. That's the 1300D. I need to look at what white balance I have set on it. Not quite sure, but it's purple and pinkish. Again, that could be a look that you want, depending on what you're streaming or playing or recording in general, or whatever you're doing with it, or in a video call or something. These can all be used on Discord, Zoom, Skype, if Skype's still around, Teams, that kind of thing. So yeah, and yeah, it's a little bit more purple on this one as well. So depending on, I think having the white balance set to auto on them is playing with them a bit. Yeah, so just adding 2 lights, about £40 in total. So lighting can make a big difference to what quality you get out of your webcam or camera. Out of your camera, let's keep it as camera. Yeah, so you can get pretty usable. So yeah, you can get pretty usable footage out of a 10-year-old webcam. But again, depending on how you're using your camera, where you're putting it, say you're streaming, for example, and you have a gameplay scene with you in the corner, how much do you need the resolution and clarity? Will the C920 do it for you? Let's put a scene together. Don't know what it's going to be, but I'm going to put my face down in the bottom corner. I've put some footage behind me. This is the M200. It, again, looks alright. And there's not much difference between it and the... maybe a little bit different to the colours, but that and the 1300D. The C920, again, looks fine. It looks perfectly fine. Maybe the white balance could be changed, and there's tweaking you'll have to do. It could just be that I need to get closer and then it will focus better on my face. And yeah, it seems to get a bit better when I do that. It's maybe with more in the background, it has a problem with its autofocus and auto white balance. It could just be that. It does look like it gets better when you get closer. So maybe you need to sit a little bit closer to your C920. You never know. It could be anything really. But yeah, this is how they all look, with a bit of footage behind them, and you're down in the bottom corner. There's not that much of a difference really. Again, the M200 will be slightly smoother. Okay, so I should have proven in this video that lighting is the main thing to get your camera working how you want it. Experiment, buy a cheap light, shine it on your face. I see a lot of people say that they don't like shining a light on their face, but to get the best out of your camera, you're gonna have to do it. Like, there's people like, oh, but I don't like shining lights in my eyes, and it's like, if you want people to see your face, you need to shine a light on your face. So I'm not gonna say suck it up, buttercup, but other phrases are available for that. Sometimes you have to just put a light on your face. After about 10 minutes, you forget that it's there. Your eyes adjust, and then suddenly it's gone. You don't realize. Always use your head. Don't shine like the really old bulbs that set fires into your face. Go for an LED panel or something like that. But you can use fluorescent bulbs if you're on a budget. Again, this LED panel was about 20 to 30 pounds. They're not expensive. If you really are scraping the barrel, start off with a cheap light and a cheap bulb. If it gives off heat, you won't be dealing with that for long, hopefully. You can then upgrade it in the future to something that makes you more comfortable. But mainly, the point of this video was that no matter what you have, you can make it work. So depending on your room, depending on what lights you have in your room, what color walls you have, because in this room all the walls are white, which reflects a lot of light. It's rented, I can't change them. So yeah, gear isn't everything, but the gear that you have is the most important. What you already own, try and use that. Maybe spend like a little bit on getting the most out of what you have. So instead of buying a whole new camera, get a cheap light, spend £20, not over £100. The kind of thing that improve what you have and not just replace it all kind of mentality. But yeah, if you like this video and you want to see more, hit the like button and I will do more like this. And if you want to see more videos that I've done some on my microphone that I'm using right now. That'll be down in the playlist that I'll put this in, and on my channel if you want to subscribe. Let me know what you want to see me do. Maybe you want to see me do a whole video in that camera up there, which will probably be hell, but this is the only time I get to stand up doing pieces to this camera, so maybe that could be helpful for me as well as some entertainment for you. Let's go back. If I missed anything and you have tips and tricks about what you use, and just put them down in the comments down below. Let me know what you do so I can maybe do an update video and have more of a comprehensive options for people to use. So yeah, as I said before, I stream on Twitch, so that's down in the description below as well. I will see you next time, guys. Goodbye.